Hey guys, Dirk the Red Panda here again with the Hayseed Knight this time. So, yeah, I'm starting to kind of think that just to kind of get some mix in there, kind of a little diversity with things, kind of switch off between the Hayseed Knight and Tennis Ace per upload. So do Tennis Ace then Hayseed Knight and then switch back and forth between those. But yeah, I mean, we just got into chapter 2 and we're starting to figure out how things are going to go non-linearly, and yeah, I had ended it there just to do another Tennis Ace episode, and I'm just thinking, we gotta do this. We gotta keep going through Hayseed Knight. It goes up to chapter 2 now, and then the new art style is probably going to kick in sooner or later, but man, we just gotta see where this goes, because I really want to get to how our love triangle is gonna go. Can't really say any other words for it, so yeah, let's load it up, and we are on Eina thinking to herself. Oh yeah, it was about the potatoes, yeah. Something about potatoes, and yeah. Okay, so yeah, we were about Adder's sickness, and it was Eina thinking, how did he go crazy or something? Well, let's read. I'm rambling here. Eina marched towards one of her usual hideouts atop the rundown temple walls, away from Adder's sight. She needn't run that far. He wasn't going to pursue her this time. Alone with one of her potatoes and all of her weapons, Eina began rummaging through her pockets in search of a knife. There was never a lack of those on her person. She brought out one of her trusty daggers and focused all her attention on cutting the potato into thinner and thinner slices. She wasn't wrong. There was just no way she was. There was just no way she was. She was older and wiser, and Adder was just being an idiot by refusing her help, of course.
Hiding from the face where,
Hey, Ilegrab, sorry to interrupt you. Just good comment, I love that "why though" expression. I think that's what it was. Yeah, the "why though." Do that expression one too many times myself. And so Ilegrab says,
hiding from the mob, little Tess.
God bless Ilegrab. God damn it, giant tree man. And the narrator has a different opinion of him. Screw you, narrator. Replying to Ilegrab wasn't precisely on Eina's list of priorities for the day. Ilegrab didn't expect otherwise.
Don't worry, I took care of them. No need to thank me, of course. Wouldn't kill you, though. Anyway, all that's left is putting out the fire, so, I was hoping Adder could give me a hand there. Where is the lab?
Sick. There was another question that didn't deserve an answer. Or that was another question that didn't deserve an answer. One of the things on my Tennis Ace, I do takes for it and stuff, but one of the things I keep messing up in my takes I don't, don't put in the final draft is I keep saying there instead of that so many times. And it's I'll just read the same thing 3 times and go, there was another question, and it's no, that's not it. Why can't my brain think? But yeah, that is my rant. Eina devoted her whole being to gathering all the extra thin potato slices and then launched them into the air, watching them fly around like some tremendously wasteful confetti. Some tasty confetti.
Did you two get in a fight?
Oh, scene transition. Eina led Ilegrab to the courtyard. Eina led Ilegrab to the courtyard. There were. Oh my goodness. What am I doing? I'm sorry, guys. Eina led Ilegrab to the courtyard. There, where a peevish adder sat by the fountain. He was rubbing his face as he stared at all the food by his side.
He hasn't come back to his senses yet, huh? Hey, think it's your father's fault? I mean, I could leave him a little longer on the pyre to see if he learns his lesson.
No, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, Ilegrab. That guy's just gonna be stubborn.
Don't you dare, you son of a wilted fur!
I'm sorry, merchant. He heard me too.
Don't you dare, you son of a wilted fur. Meat face.
Oh, goodness.
I'll make a wardrobe out of you!
Oh, bless your ears, Red.
Love the high spirits. Eina shook her head, frustrated. The merchant hadn't said anything meaner than usual, and even if he had, Adder and Eina formed an unbreakable team. Nothing could harm them when they were together. Oof. Now I'm starting to think, like, if this is going to be more romantic roots, then it's going to be Eina's the close friend, she's got Adder's back. But Seth is this new mysterious girl that, man, she could offer so much for him. And I am trying to predict the plot. Stupid, but I guess stupid on my part, I mean. But that's something I like to do. Anyway, they looked in Adder's direction once more. What? What the? I won't pretend I've ever understood how Adder's mind works. God damn it, stop doing flips, man. Oh my goodness. Sandra, you went fully into this animation.
You two worrywarts were made for each other.
Just the same as each other. Eina's face turned red immediately. The legendary Maroose Smith would rather admit to any criminal charges against her rather than let on that she was actually concerned about anyone's well-being. She has a hammer to prove otherwise. Ilegrab smiled and stepped forward before she had a chance to protest, however.
Let me handle this.
Don't do it.
Ahem. Addison, son of Garfass of the Upper Field, you're under arrest.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I knew it was against the law, but I couldn't tell on her. Please don't kill me.
For worrying a precious little bean like Eina, sweetie. Give us a minute, will you?
Easily fragile, Adder, as usual.
Adder, my favorite Canthurian refugee. Why would the only law-abiding deer in Slander District ever beg for his life? Did Geoff talk you into conning someone? Someone called Tailid, perhaps?
Adder shook his head.
Well, that rules the most serious possibility out, which leaves us with a scared buck and a secret. And you know that I'm only second to Eina when it comes to both. Start talking.
Oof.
Okay. I met this girl and she booped me and I got so nervous that I ran away and then I saw her again but her clothes were super short and it turned out we knew each other because I tried to save her once and then she kissed me and she invited me to her room and it was super fancy and we had dinner. It was the best dinner ever and then she asked me if I was going to leave so soon and
Oh! Say no more. So, you shed your antlers. That's no big deal. And most certainly not a crime. Though you know, fawns happen. You do know about that, right?
I don't, cause man, I am dense and don't know much about deers and gazelles. But yep, everything starts with a boop, kids. Don't get into it.
Adder, I love you like a son, but please don't make me take on your father's actual educational duties.
What
I know where
father?
fawns come from. That ain't...
Good, good. Then what could... Oh, of course. I should have known from the very first moment.
Adder's eyes lit up slightly. Ilegrab let a heavy hand fall on the buck's shoulder as he took a deep breath.
No matter how guilty you feel, cheating is not a crime.
What?
Cheating. Oh my goodness. Please don't
I
think.
want you to know that I don't approve of what you've done, but I'm sure Eina will understand if you talk to her.
Never cheat on Eina. I'd have to be courting her for that anyway.
You're not?
Oof. He knew. And we knew.
Of course not.
As the
Eina's
audience.
too cool for that. She could be with anyone she wanted because she's the strongest. I could never get a doe like her.
But kid, she's not a...
Oof. If a tree falls in a temple and there are 3 people to hear it, including the tree itself, does it make a sound? And if Eina falls out of the sky, does she make a sound? Nope. She's already gotten away. Dang. Good use of Rempi animation there. Alright, the answer is yes. He says doe.
All right, kiddo. That's the end of the talk. Why don't you go back to sulking in the corner or something?
And the problem's not been solved. Conclusion. Ilegrab laughed awkwardly as Eina dragged him away. For other purposes.
You're lucky I can't have you arrested, you unruly little beast. Yeah, of course. Mock your biggest ally. Excuse me. That wasn't on purpose, I swear. Your greatest ally! I was just trying to help you. Forget that stupid
But
argument. I thought I told you to tell him the truth already.
Say you love him. I knew it. It's coming.
Don't
It's
play
coming.
the mute card with me. There's a million ways you could tell him. That boy's blinder than Pertok, but he'll find out sooner or later that you're lying to him. You want to wait till Eka is here? How do you think he'll react then?
And who is Eka? With our nifty encyclopedia, we will look at this in characters. Nope. Nothing there. Lore, maybe? No. No. Dictionary. No. Alright, I have no clue who Eka is. Assuming that's a past love interest.
Eina, we aren't like him. Like them. I know you care a lot about him, and so do I. I love the both of you. But keeping up the charade for so long is only gonna make the truth harder than it should be. Dear, have a life. And we're a part of it, of course, but there are just some things that we can never give them. Things they need in their short time on Dakna. No matter how much we love them.
Oh, it sounds like you say about dogs. Their short time. Oh, now I'm feeling bad. Yes, I'm assuming that deer are kind of in the higher levels of this. Not like a monarchy, but the social hierarchy.
Adder
Jeez.
is no exception.
Can I
to
think
that
today?
rule. He's beginning to realize that you're not the son of his life, Eina. Take the whole night business out, and what do you have? He's just a boy with down-to-earth concerns. He wants a farm. He wants a family. He will move on one day and find those things. And we should be happy for him. Do you understand?
I'm liking this talk, though. At least he's throwing on the reality. Alright, there were some concepts that Eina was acutely aware of, even if she herself didn't realize it. How painfully small her influence could be on anyone's life was one of them. A few moments went by in complete silence as she contemplated the faces that had left her behind already. She had always been all too eager to forget how rare company had been throughout her existence. Bearing the weight of such a thought, she finally nodded with her head low. Ilegrab's mustache turned down as his eyebrows rose. A million worried creases formed where his forehead should be.
Then do me a favor and take him somewhere nice tonight.
Huh?
You have to make sure to have fun together while you
Say
can.
what?
So go make up with him. Take him out tonight. Who knows? Maybe he'll loosen up and tell you what's going on after a few drinks.
I see what you're doing, Ilegrab. You gotta friend somebody and then figure out how things work from there. Hey, I wish I knew how. Why am I... It's just weird doing this with no video camera. Once again, privacy reasons, but it just sounds awkward hearing me just making these weird comments with no visual commentary with it.
Or let him go. So you two'd better be smooshing faces together by the end of the night, okay? That's a royal order.
What the? Now that changed directions. Ilegrab, don't do this to her. Don't bring her false hopes. Don't bring her false hopes. I like you, Ilegrab, but don't bring her such false hopes. In an incredible display of dexterity, Ilegrab managed to produce a giant tree deer's handful, of Doris from a bag on his belt, which he handed a very flustered Eina as discreetly as he could. Satisfied with his act of generosity, he took a long glance around the forge, finally stopping to stare at the embers resting on the bottom of the furnace.
You can think of that as a tip. You know, so you can get to work on my order a bit faster.
Favors? Eina looked at Ilegrab straight in the eye, not restless, not calm, even more silently than usual. She stretched out the hand holding
Fair
the coins
enough.
towards him.
I should know better than to try to bribe a Tess. You guys are a prideful bunch. But hey, keep the money. I'm sure Adder could use a little, push in the right.
Are you going to help me down or what?
Red, I swear I'd let the mobs have their way with you if it wouldn't make your daughter sad.
I'd like to see you try!
Do it, please. You only cause conflict in this whole story. I bet there's something redeeming about him, probably we'll figure out. But man,
Oh, I'm sure
the most
you
hateable
would.
character by far.
He's right, though. I shouldn't leave him hanging like that. Good luck, Eina.
A little fancy hat, I see. Free from the chains of unwanted social interaction, Eina silently pondered Ilegrab's words as she headed back to Adder's side. Once again, things that just look too similar to me that sound completely different. But yeah, social interaction, my fear. There used to be sacred flat pools in the public courtyard, now served as a magnificent dish and laundry washing station. Adder's particularly, since he was in charge of these chores. At the end of the day, any of her oh-so-urgent chores were just another excuse to keep Adder around. He purposely looked the other way. Of course he didn't want to talk to her. The irony of getting blatantly ignored by the clingiest deer on Dakna, I think I'm saying it right, Dakna, wasn't lost on Eina. a painful punishment if there was one. An apology was something to be rarely expected from the smith, not because she failed to see the faults in her actions, but because she didn't know how to apologize. No, that was just an excuse. Adder always knew when Eina felt guilty about anything. Then again, why did she have to apologize when it was him who failed to appreciate her efforts? She would have continued patting her own back and telling herself how right she was, if she hadn't noticed that the food wasn't nowhere to be seen. Oof. Love the pose of the hand there. It's just like, I'm feeling your arm, buddy. This is an awkward position. Eina carefully removed from Adder's hands the brass dish that he'd been polishing over and over.
There's some red spot that just won't leave.
You. An incredible feat, considering that he'd been washing the same dish since her conversation with Ilegrab started. The dish had been cleaned with such dedication that she could see her reflection in it. Eina stared at the dish. Where's the spot? Then at Adder. Back at the dish. Adder again. Once satisfied with her observations, she whacked Adder's snout with the flat side of the dish in a manner that she considered softly. I love how this is all being described from this narrator's story. Like, I'm gonna describe how he washed a dish, and she looked at the dish.
What is it now?
Smirking in the most annoying fashion possible, she shoved the dish on Adder's face.
Look at this stupid dish.
Eina turned the dish around once more just to make sure she was right. There was no spot to be seen. Seeing that her first idea didn't yield any results, Eina decided that some better strategic positioning was in order. Get wet. Ignoring the way her boots were getting soaked and how questionable her repositioning was, Eina sat down in the gap left between Adder's legs in the pool. She held the dish as far as she could and then tapped on its surface, attempting to call Adder's attention to it once more. He had to regain a bit of composure first.
Can't you see the spots? It's there, right next to your face.
Oh my goodness. Now I'm realizing how dense he is. Come on. A brief lapse of clarity came about Adder's sight, traveled towards a red blur on the brass dish, right where his right eye should have been.
I'm an idiot.
Could say that again. They agreed on that. A tranquil silence followed Adder's epiphany. I was about to say sympathy. His Adder's symphony. But anyway, a tranquil silence followed Adder's epiphany. A moment of reflection. Eina looked up at Adder with her big lilac eyes, hoping to tug at his heartstrings in lieu of an apology. Some would call that kind of purposely cute look manipulative. Some people would get their asses kicked. Adder's lip trembled as he noticed her stare. He was none the wiser to her foul play. Or maybe he just preferred to let himself be deceived every time.
I don't think I've gotten used to the eye thing yet.
Oof, are we gonna find out how he lost his eye? Eina patted Adder's enormous arms as patronizingly as she could, ruffling the fur that covered him. It seemed none of them would exactly apologize for what happened. Of course they went back to playing with the dish like big children they were.
What's with all this fluff? And look at my face. Where did my cheeks go? No wonder I can't recognize myself.
Don't worry. It'll all be back to normal in the next art rendition.
But
Won't
wait,
be so
how
big.
did she even recognize me then? Was that magic too?
Eina had no idea what she was or what magic he was talking about. But there was only one gigantic one-eyed roe deer with shovels for hands in the whole city. Adder put the dish away, fixing his gaze farther in the fountain, where statues stood, mutilated and bereft of the glory it had ages back.
Why did you have to tell me?
Oof. Making that connection to the statue that Seth mentioned. Knowing fully well that he wasn't talking to her, Eina continued running her bandaged fingers along his fur absent-mindedly, somewhat concerned about his sudden interest for the son of the sun. Oh my god. Repetition must repetition. They were both out of the trance when she had to yank her hand away after it had gotten too tangled. Without the money to visit a barber, Adder had turned tremendously fluffy. Okay, that kind of big. That makes more sense then. I thought it was going to be like, let me explain why the first art rendition is different from this. Yeah. Totally out of the loop on that. Looked at the past renditions for a little bit and was like, oh, they're probably going to allude to this. But anyway, without the money to visit a barber, Adder had turned tremendously fluffy, more so than any other deer Eina had ever seen, in the time they had known each other. Ilegrab's words resonated within her, making her feel a guilt she usually quieted with violence. How long had it been since they first met? How long since she decided to take him as an unofficial
I've been thinking
apprentice?
a lot about the past, boss.
Eina's torn up ears perked up. What were the chances of those two thinking the same thing? Adder smiled ever so lightly, giving her his trademark, here's a story you don't want to miss look.
Do you remember the day we met?
Oh boy.
Hey, don't you...
What a question.
Imagine you just walked into the city thinking, this is finally your day. You make a friend, he's gonna get you a job, and then you turn around the corner and stumble upon a grandpa on fire!
Oh god, please don't be Eina's fault. Nothing strange as far as Eina was concerned.
Seeing that poor grandpa suffer went against all that my dad taught me. So I rushed into the scene, ready to risk my life to save him.
What Adder didn't know is that Eina had been looking down on the scene from her window, giving her quite a more accurate retelling of the events.
The fire was too strong for me. There was nothing I could do. With his last breath, the old man calls for his daughter. And he yells until... Whoa! The prettiest girl I'd seen in my life walks right out of the gate.
Oof. Eina made a conscious effort not to giggle. To be fair, half the female population that Adder met was the prettiest girl he'd seen in his life. Oh, there's too many guys like that. But that's kind of a good thing too, not judging each person individually, but yeah. Then it becomes disingenuous. There's some kind of quote, I think, from, what was it? No, it was like something Neil Patrick Harris said. How I Met Your Mother, that's what it was. Like, there's some quote about that, like, if you use legendary all the time for everything, not everything can be legendary anymore. Or it's everything is legendary, nothing's legendary. It resonated with me, because I'm like, man, I shouldn't say the same word to describe everything all the time. Like, things like that where I'm like, I gotta use some better word choice, or really reevaluate what I say. It stuck with me.
She makes her way through the crowd. She looks at me. At me! Of all the people!
As this grandpa's dying. Of course she was looking at him. He was screaming louder than the man on the pyre.
And then, she just signs us to get eaten by a beast and walks away like it's got nothing to do with her. Wonder who that last was, huh?
Oof. He poked Eina's cheek as she slapped his hand away as solemnly as she could. He was one to talk about first impressions. Shaggy, chubby, badly patched up and wearing a ridiculous vest. That's how she remembered the adder that first appeared in their gate, screaming in fear as usual. A boy with such a tender scar on his face babbling about becoming a knight while the idiot in a hat attempted to convince her father to disregard anything the boy said.
And now look at us. So much has happened in just a year. You're still a huge meanie. But I trust you with my life, boss.
Play cool, play cool. That was just a very adderish exaggeration, of course. They had only been friends since the last bleak night, at least the way she saw it. There's no way he trusted her that much already. And let me look up bleak nights. That is probably a new thing in the dictionary. Nope. Lore? Question mark? Bleak night, bleak night. Ah, why can't it scroll? There we go. Wow, no bleak night. Okay. Moving on. And I clicked dictionary again. Good job, me. Close. And next. Then again, Adder would have probably argued that they had been friends ever since he arrived with the first bloom of flower scents, and that he would have died for her since the moment he saw her.
I can't imagine leaving Mr. Bard's home, or not going on walks with Ilegrab. Even the patron. Life was so different back in the fort. I couldn't wait to go back.
Adder shut up all of a sudden. Eina was surprised he managed to speak half a sentence about his draft. There went another issue he never talked about. Ooh. Both Adder and Eina turned their eyes to the reflection once more. The image on the dish offered no good answer to the questions either of them had. It just talked about the outcome of their decisions. Weird. Eina shifted the dish a little until she was no longer in the picture. That's where she belonged. Oh, feeling so bad now for Eina.
You really need to stop sneaking.
Don't do
around,
this to
boss.
yourself. Don't depreciate yourself, Eina. Don't do that to yourself. You're worth it. You have value. Come on. Believe. Putting his hands just above hers, Adder turned the dish so she would be back in the reflection. She turned her face up towards his, confused.
Worried about what Ilegrab said, aren't you?
Still observing Adder's snout in such a weird angle, she nodded. He had been a lot more vigilant than what she had originally thought, But he had decided to remain silent about it all the same. Or about it all the same. Sorry guys for this crap reading. From such a low angle, his still faunish and round face looked even mature. Now that was a stretch. She knew that mature was probably one of the last adjectives that would ever be associated with him. But just for a moment, she felt like he wasn't a dumb kid who would get lost if she let go of him anymore.
You didn't believe him? He's got it all wrong. I'm not a cheater. I never said I was courting you, I swear.
Oh boy, it was just a moment, as I said. Eina quietly considered the question, but not before headbutting his chest for that tell, of course. Pry comforted him. This is gonna be tough. It's probably in Eina's nature to pry him. But comforting him, like, I feel like Prime we're gonna get more about Seth, and I really think it'd be good for Eina to know about Seth. But in comforting him, at least then it'll develop a more personal bond. But she's still gonna not know about Seth, and that's gonna be revealed, or somehow become obvious or something. And it's like she's just not gonna end up winning him over because of it. I don't know. I feel like Brian's gonna be a better decision in this case, because at least she'll know and she could do something about it. While it was true that Ilegrab was prone to babbling and fond of hyperbole, there was definitely something going on. Anything Adder wasn't crying about was suspicious by default. With no further need to pretend she hadn't heard a word, she began going over the conversation she spied on. Adder said someone kissed him, but that was Adder, always exaggerating stories, or so Eina told herself, coming up with a top 10 reasons why Adder couldn't possibly ever get a kiss. On Watch Mojo. Next on Watch Mojo. This is so dumb. After all, Eina didn't believe that Adder could appeal to a female. Ever. At all. No way. Nope. And most certainly not to her. But with the sole purpose of ribbing Adder, of course, Eina began making smooching noises as she hugged herself.
And I was... Boss, that's personal!
Personal. The word caught Eina completely unprepared. She was surprised Adder even knew the meaning of that word. You do big boy words now. You know big boy words. The yellow stag had always babbled any thought that he had the misfortune of wandering through his mind, unprompted and unquestioned. Boss had been nothing but an odd formality between them. With a single adjective, in just a moment, Eina felt with complete clarity the wheels of time spinning, out to get both of them. Change was scary, and Adder was an oddity in a world that shunned her. All she wanted was someone that wanted to have her by their side. How could that ever be a bad thing? She didn't need an answer. It was now time for Eina to go back to sulking and for Adder to feel bad thinking it was due to his outbursts.
Got it all wrong. Ilegrab, Mr. Bard, the patron. I know they want to help, but no one ever listens to a word I say, and they still act like they know all about me. Like I was just a dumb fawn. Do you know how freaking annoying that is?
Eina rolled her eyes back. Ask the mute girl if she knows anything about not getting to chip in.
And I have one now too, but I just don't want to tell them about it. They wouldn't understand.
Tell us. We want to know about your life. We still don't know about your mysterious past life and the eye patch. Please tell us more. But they would.
What if I just don't want to talk? It ain't the end of the world, right? Right?
Adder looked at Eina pleadingly with a big, glassy eye on the verge of tears. The smith couldn't even bring herself to give him the sarcasm he deserved. Eina nodded patiently, giving him a lazy, derisive pat on his cheek. She found that almost relatable. With a loud sigh full of resignation, frustration, and just a hint of relief, Adder rested his chin on Eina's head, letting his surge of honesty suddenly
I'm so glad I
vanish.
could get that off my chest. You're the only one that gets it, boss. Sorry for how I acted before. I should have talked to you sooner.
Indeed he should have, but she was gracious enough not to remark it. Eina let him know that she still expected an explanation with a single look, and Adder's cheeks jumped a little as he looked away, smiling coyly as his giant teeth would let him. And here came the part where he poured his heart out to the beautiful maiden by his side, and their relationship was strengthened even further.
Keeping secrets from you sure is hard, boss. But this is one of those things I couldn't even tell you.
Huh?
Oof, tell us. Tell her. She needs to know. Adder was late to his date with Mr. Keg.
Alright, boss. That was the last push-up. I should get going now. Mr. Bard's playing tonight, and I better make sure he's not gonna drink our money. See you tomorrow!
Alright, and this has been about 40 minutes or so. I'm gonna end things here, and hopefully we can conclude Chapter 2 of the Hayseed Night next time. Take care, guys.